Welcome to the PrepNet, presented every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Talk2Me's Channel 14. Come join us to discuss everything about prepping and hear what others have done.
All right, it's officially 6 p.m. Eastern. Welcome to the Preppers Net Sunday evening. Just one last quick call here before we get started to see if we have anybody else that would like to check in. If so, please state your name and your state clearly for me so I can get you registered. Let me check in with the person who registered before we move on, everybody. Thank you very much. First one that would like to get registered, go ahead. Okay, at this time we don't have anybody else that would like to get registered, so we're going to continue on. Quick statement, any of the views, comments, or anything said in general on this channel right now during this net is not, Talk2Me is not held responsible. Simple PTT is not held responsible. These are our own personal views and opinions, and this will be dealing with prepping. So that's what this net is about. I'm going to pause for a quick break here. I just want to give a special thanks to Montana Jim. He's the one that's going to be presenting all the information tonight and presenting the topic. Topic tonight is bugging in. Things to think about for bugging in. So that is what we will be talking about tonight, just so everybody knows. I want to welcome everybody to the net. And one last quick check. Do we have anybody else who would like to register? Please call now.
Hi there, this is Donna in Montana.
Hey, Donna, glad to have you here. Glad to have you here, dear. Welcome back. Welcome back. One more time, do we have anybody else who would like to register for the net?
Hey, Red Bear Falcon, signing in.
Hey, Falcon, I don't know if Scott moved on, but he did call you for the winner for the $50 SPTT card there.
I was the winner?
Yeah, I was just on here trying to yell for you, too. He might have moved on by the sounds of it and picked somebody else, though.
Yeah, he done picked somebody else.
Ah, that's okay. That's okay. Wow. I was surprised about that. Nah, I would actually tell him to actually give it to somebody else. I feel a little bit kind of, I don't know. Anyways, thanks, guys, for letting me know.
10-4, 10-4. One more call. Do we have anybody else that would like to register at this time? All right, and we will keep moving forward. Jim, if you're ready, quick check with you. Are you ready, sir?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
10-4, we'll give net control over to Jim, and then we will take some more check-ins. Go ahead, Jim. The mic is yours, sir.
Thank you, Red Bear, and everybody on the net. Before we get going, I want to cover a couple of things to address from last week's net. Donna MT had suggested including Granny in the Senior Living Center for testing your bug-out plan. Absolutely. Oops. I just lost my place in my thing here. Let me break. Just to let you know, I write all this stuff down because otherwise I'd be rambling for 25 years. Anyway, make sure to test your preparations as real life as possible. Now, if Granny, in this particular case, is in a wheelchair, you need to practice using a wheelchair in your testing. Now, you don't need to put Granny in the wheelchair and take her along on your drive to your bug-out location unless she'd actually like to go for a drive. Break. Instead, take a wheelchair, load it with 100 to 150 pounds, not Granny, and go through the steps of getting Granny from her room out to the vehicle, put the fake Granny and wheelchair into the vehicle, and drive to your bug-out location. If Granny is not in a wheelchair but has a hard time walking, simulate this as best you can. leaving open space in the vehicle for the real Granny. Also include the amount of time Granny would need to get her stuff ready to bug out, if any. I know this sounds extreme, but you will find it takes longer than you think. Know this now, not then. Break. The other thing I wanted to cover real shortly is please don't just bug out, quote, somewhere. If you don't know where you're going to be going, you will not know what will be there to help you, and you will not know what things you need to take with you. Again, please Please plan, don't just wing it. Break. Okay, what is bugging in? Bugging in means you're not getting out of Dodge. You will stay at your house and ride out the emergency there. You can look at it this way. Bugging in is you trying to figure out how not to leave your house. The advantages of bugging in are you don't need to load your vehicle, and you don't need to drive to a bug out location. All of your preps are already at your house, and you are in familiar surroundings. You'll be sleeping in your own bed and cooking in your kitchen. As they say, you can survive or you can thrive. I chose thrive. I want the emergency to be a slight inconvenience, not a major problem. Break. Bugging in will generally reduce the amount of stress you have for that incident. You will recover faster than most. Your overall costs will be less. In my case, the pandemic was only an inconvenience, if that. The fact that the store shelves were bare didn't affect us at all. Our lifestyle stayed the same. The most stressful thing was watching people on TV complain that things were so bad while we just sat there shaking our heads, enjoying our food stores and the comfort of our home. Break. Now, with that said, you need to be sure you have mitigated any dangers you might encounter. If you can't imagine a danger, you might want to bug out. Let's start with the electric grid. If the electric grid goes down, you could rely on a generator. You could go with the solar instead of a generator. The next mitigation for the electric grid down could be a battery bank. We will cover more on the electric grid down in a future net entitled All About Electricity. Break. Okay, you lose your water. What can you do? Have stored water on hand. If you have a well and the grid goes down, you will not be able to pump water. You can connect the well to a generator or a solar battery bank to run a DC to AC inverter. You could use a hand pump. You can either purchase a hand pump or you can build one using PVC pipe to pump water from your well. You could get water from an open source like a lake, river, or stream. Be sure to purify it. We will cover more on water interruptions in a future net entitled All About Water. Break. Now we have a supply chain interruption. You can no longer go to the store to buy the things as the shelves are empty. To mitigate this, you would need to stock up on all of the supplies you would normally need for daily use. This will be a large amount of stocking up. We will cover more on this in future nets entitled, What are the categories you need to consider when prepping, and what do you need to stock up on? Fuel for your gas or diesel-powered engines is not available anymore, but you need to use those engines. This could be for your vehicle, a generator, a snowplow, or a tractor. You could store extra gas or diesel. However, there are a few things to consider. Break. Check your local laws concerning the storage of gas and diesel to be sure you are complying with the law and safely storing it. We will cover more on this in a future net entitled All About Vehicles. The next mitigation is sanitation issues. The most likely cause would be loss of water. You will still be able to flush your toilet by pouring water in the bowl. However, this does require you to have stored water for this purpose. You can find some gallon or larger containers that would not be usable for food or water, fill them with water, and use that water to flush. You could use a portable chemical or compost toilet. We will cover more on this in future nets entitled All About Sanitation. Break. A civil unrest problem is more complicated and may require a bug out instead. To mitigate this, you would have to have a defensible location and a means to protect it. You might want to consider civil unrest as part of all of the above mitigation. Look at what happened during the mostly peaceful demonstrations we've seen in the last few years. There was looting, property damage, and personal injuries. Any of the above outages can escalate into civil unrest. We will cover more on this in a future net entitled All About Security. Break. I do not doubt that there are more things you could mitigate, and some of those we will cover in future nets. My next topic was to be mitigating dangers. However, I think we have covered enough about mitigation so far. If you have any suggestions on mitigation topics we have not covered here, please send an email to prepnetch14@gmail.com. For you hams and military folks, phonetically I say Papa Romeo Echo Papa November Echo Tango Charlie Hotel 14@gmail.com. Break. Put suggestion, that's SUGGESTION, in the subject line, and we will try to incorporate that into future nets. Please only submit suggestions for tonight's topic. Next week's topic will be assumptions. Break. And finally, an announcement. We have opened up our YouTube channel to the public, so you will be able to get all of the extended presentations and recordings of the past nets there. Simply go to YouTube and put @PrepNet-Talk2Me into the search field. You can then click on our channel to go to it. Again, go to YouTube and put @PrepNet-Talk2Me into the search field. With that, I'll send it back to Red Bear.
Hey, I want to say thank you very much, Montana Jim. Really appreciate all the information that you present us with and also the topics that you bring forth to us. I think this was a really good one. So, but at this time, I would like to check, do we have anybody else that would like to register for the net? Please go ahead and step up and let us know who you are and what state you're in.
SP 1022, Patrick from Pennsylvania.
All right, SP 1022 in Pennsylvania, we got you down. Do we have anybody else? Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started going down the list here. Looking at the topic tonight, bugging in, what to think about for bugging in. That is something that we are looking at in my personal home. Is we feel that if at all possible, bugging in would be the choice for us. So we are looking into what we feel we need to be amply stocked on. Water is definitely one of those things that we constantly look at. And the good thing when it comes to using your toilet, like Jim was talking about, that water doesn't necessarily have to be filtered and cleaned and whatnot. That is considered unpotable water at that point, and you could use that for toiletry water as well. With that, I'll give a short break here. But okay, we will move down the list here with Keith in Louisiana. Hey Keith, what's your thoughts about bugging in and what Jim brought to the topic tonight?
Good evening to everyone on the net. Well, I've always planned to bug in. But you know, my preps are for storms. And as far as like anything like end of the world unrest, I have no clue about what's gonna happen then. Hopefully that never happens, but my preps are for hurricanes. And, I have food that's, stocked up, and I'm ready for that. I have fuel. And one of the things that I need to do is get me a water containment uh, system, because I have drinking water, but you can run out of toilet water real quick. So I need to hook something up for that. And as far as for electricity, I have generators, but I also have batteries with solar panels. But that system there, it's just very minimal. I won't be able to run the whole house off of that. Uh, but I do have that. And usually hurricanes here, unless we get a straight on hit, we'll be out of power maybe a week. Anything worse than that, well, I just have to get out of Dodge. But I also have electric bicycles for in case of, run out of gas, and I have a way to get places that I need to get to. So then I could charge that up with my solar. So that's my outtake on that part. But anyway, I'm gonna send it back to net control.
Hey, thanks a lot, Keith. Really, really, really appreciate your input there, brother. And electric bikes for prepping. That's an interesting spend, sir. I would have never thought of that. Thank you very much for the contribution there. So yeah, that is awesome. Glad to hear you got some solar panels ready to go as well. All right, we're gonna continue on to Andrew in Michigan. What's your thoughts on bugging in, sir, as well as Jim's insight on the topic?
Thank you, gentlemen, for holding the net. How I look at bugging in is I made some notes from last week. Bugging in kind of helps you maintain control of your environment that you're in, possibly avoiding some of the dangers, that might be associated with leaving your home. It can also help reduce your exposure to external threats. And probably some of the reasons I would bug out is if when there's a imminent danger that I can't control, or your location is actually compromised. Bugging in or out, I guess it kind of depends on one's specific circumstances. So those are kind of some of the notes I kind of made for tonight's Bugging In Part 2.
Thanks a lot for that input there, Andrew. That was very good. Yeah, looking at your planning and whatnot, if you're planning on bugging in for whatever situation that you're trying to control here, what happens if your location is compromised? That's a very good question right there. Gonna need some backup planning also for another location at that point. So something else to look at too, with the bugging out situation, you have to go pick grandma up and she's in a wheelchair. If you're bugging in, what if part of that plan is going to get grandma in that wheelchair too? What is that going to look like? All right, Andrew, appreciate it. Thanks a lot there, boss. Do we have anybody else that would like to check into the net right now? Go ahead and make your call, please. Okay, we'll keep moving on down the list then. Dan in Pennsylvania, what are your thoughts on bugging in as well as the information provided tonight? Thinking down the path of bugging in here.
Always have multiple toys that eat the same candy. That way, if one goes down, you still have your candy supply. Be safe, everybody.
10-4, Dan, 10-4, yep. Gotta have your candy, definitely. I tend to hide my candy right next to my rounds for my rifles and whatnot. So definitely. I gotta stay sugared up while I'm trying to stay awake and secure my perimeter. Thanks a lot. Definitely appreciate it, Dan. Donna in Montana, how about you, madam? What's your thoughts tonight on bugging in and the topic presented?
Thank you, Red Bear. Yeah, we are most likely going to bug in, and I have a thought on the water storage for sanitation. The plastic jugs that kitty litter come in would make save those. And if you don't have kitties, maybe you know someone who does, and you can get those jugs from them and just fill them with gray water, your dishwater, and keep them on hand.
There we go. That's a good idea right there. Definitely. I mean, why couldn't you use that for sanitation water? And thank you for the better terminology there, too. Sanitation water is a lot cleaner sounding. So, yeah, appreciate that. And saving your gray water would definitely work. And when you were talking about the kitty litter buckets, if you got a lake close by and you take those kitty litter buckets out and just start filling them up, trying to get a stockpile of water, if you run out of clean drinking water at that point, if it's not gray water you're using, for your sanitation purposes, what do you think, Donna? Could you actually filter that water at that point and drink that water if you're running low?
Yeah, I kind of think you could. You'd have to be sure that your filtration is up to the task.
10-4. Yeah, definitely. It's just a quick little thought while you were discussing there. So, but all right, Falcon in Texas. Falcon, what's your thoughts on bugging in, sir? One more try for Falcon in Texas. He's a pretty busy guy. He's actually helping out on the Spanish channels right now as well. So he's got a lot going on. How about you, Falcon? You still out here, boss?
Yes, sir. Sorry about that. I was actually listening to you guys and monitoring a couple of channels. Going crazy. Hey, I like what you guys are doing, and it's actually awesome because you actually learn from every perspective that everybody's actually given. I'm gonna actually give my 2 cents on something. And let me reset right quick. Maybe Keith is actually familiar with this, but usually in places where they actually have a lot of hurricanes or weather related, where you lose power for like maybe weeks or maybe months. Something that it's actually good to have a cistern, where you can actually get the water from the rain and save there, and kind of every certain time kind of recycle the water and use it for something, so it doesn't get stuck there. But something that's actually something people should get on their homes. In my area, I'm gonna do that. And also, I got my solar panels already, so I'm actually going to be kind of like self-sufficient in two things, but water and electricity. So I just want to actually kind of put that out there, and back to you.
10-4. Yeah, that's very important. That's a really good idea, Falcon. Collecting the rainwater. I've heard some stories though about people getting in trouble for that. Unfortunately. My own personal view on that, I don't think that we should get in trouble for collecting rainwater, but I've heard of it. So that's kind of a controversial thing. You definitely want to check your laws and regulations and whatnot in your area before you start doing that. But that is a good idea. Thanks a lot, Falcon. And real quick, you want to tell us what you got going on tonight after this net, sir? The floor is yours once again.
Hey, thanks, Red Bear. Yeah, we're going to be starting at 7 p.m. a Q&A session for an hour. So if anybody has questions about radios in general, like CV, ham, GMRS, how to actually get licensed, antennas, or anything like that, we're going to have a lot of people with a lot of experience. And if anybody wants to actually learn about that, we're going to be there. And there's a lot of people willing to actually help. And if we don't know the answer, we'll get it for you, and we'll look for it. So we got different topics that we're going to be talking tonight. I'm not sure what Cheech is going to be talking about it tonight, but he's going to be giving a radio out today as a raffle. So if you guys want to actually join in, it's not necessary to actually have either a GMRS license, ham license. Everybody's actually welcome. And the only thing that we ask is just for the name and the state where you're coming from, and just to be respectful and have a respectful conversation. That's it. Simple as that. And one more comment about the water thing. If you actually have a container that you can put it in, and like you said, every state and every county and every city has their regulations, and they got to double check on that. But you can actually do something and collect the water. So like you said, it's actually pretty important about getting the information from your county, city, and state laws and stuff like that. But yeah, that's actually very common practice in the Caribbean, and for hurricanes, and especially when they don't have in some island nations, they don't actually have pretty good infrastructure and water and stuff like that, so they actually go by that. But anyways, Red Bear, thank you for the opportunity. Same for Mountain Gym too. You guys are actually doing a wonderful job, and I'll keep supporting you guys every single Sunday. And the YouTube channel is amazing too. So back to you, Nick Control.
Break.
Go ahead, Break.
Hey, Red Bear's Wolf. I wanted to add something about that rainwater. You know why they frown upon it, right?
Go ahead with that. And also, do you want to register, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Reason why they frown upon it is because they're not getting a cut of it. It's free. So that's why they get mad when they see people collecting rainwater. It's free. So they want to say, oh, it's not healthy for you. It's contaminated water. Oh, it's not. So they don't get a share of it. It's good to collect rainwater. It's the healthiest thing you can get because it's clean, regardless of what people say. Like how Falcon said, they do it in other islands. They collect them and they use it. It's just here they frown upon it because they don't get a cut of it.
10-4 on that, Wolf, definitely. I mean, I remember going out as a kid, and I still do it with my kids to this day, going out in the rain and tipping your head back trying to catch the raindrops, you know. I'm still alive. I'm 48 years old, so. But all right, we're going to keep moving forward. Couple other things, though, Falcon. I do believe Scott is going to be in your net tonight as well, correct, sir?
Yes, sir. He's going to be talking about the APX radio, and I think Keith has it, and he's been talking good things about it. So I'm looking forward to actually listening to you guys' opinions, and hey, maybe that's actually going to be my next radio on the list. I hope that doesn't cost me a divorce, but yeah, I'm shooting for that one.
Hey, you'll just have to rally the team up, and we'll take the heat from the boss lady for you. A little backstory on Falcon, guys. When I first started the first net there on Channel 16, Falcon was one of my biggest supporters on that, and he actually started the net that's coming up after this one, and started an hour before me, and he's just been blowing it away with the topics and keeping that round table going. So let's go check him out. Let's go check him out, definitely. But I'm going to give a short break here real quick. And I'm going to see, do we have anybody else who would like to register for the net? Please let yourself be known.
Big Papa from Michigan on standby. Break.
Go ahead, Big Papa.
Yeah, I didn't know if you heard me. Big Papa from Michigan, just standing by, listening.
Yes, sir. We got you down, standing by. Appreciate having you here, brother. Do we have anybody else that would like to register? All right, we'll keep moving on down the list then. SP1022, what's your thoughts tonight? What we're looking at is bugging in and things to think about for bugging in. The floor is yours, sir.
My plan would, I would have planned to bug in unless I get tripped with the local emergency comms group. And I haven't got power situated yet. The plan is to actually have a mobile power solution to run radios in the car separate from the car battery, but would also put a 1,000-watt inverter on it as well to be able to run power off that as well. other than that, back to you guys.
And so then you're actually going to be trying to use your car to power your house is what you're talking about. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, I would. So I would do an isolator from the. So I wouldn't drain the engine battery, and I would have it to where I could hook a solar panel up in the event of prolonged use.
10-4, 10-4. Yeah, I'm kind of curious on that one. So I would love talking to you at a later time and maybe picking your brain a little bit there. So, but thank you very much. Wolf, we're going to move on to you, sir. The topic tonight is bugging in and things to think about for bugging in. Jim did kind of go down through some scenarios and things to look at and questions to ask, you know, as far as making your planning to bugging in is, you know, getting your rations and water and whatnot. What, outside of collecting rainwater there, what is your thoughts, sir?
The essentials, survival gear like your bug out bags, being well stocked, not too heavy, keeping it light. Stuff to mark the locations of where you've been, so that way if you're not, let's say, home, you're out in the wilderness, stuff to mark your location where you was at, something that can show that you was there, just in case if you don't have something to track which way you're going, something that you can always turn around and see. I know a lot of people like to carve into the trees to show a marking that they were there, stuff like that. That's always good. I think paracord is good to have, so that way you can always check you can put like a tie around on your book bag strap. For every 10 meters you move a piece of paracord, or every quarter mile, something like that, you can move one, so that way you know how far you walked, so that way you know when to stop. Always keep water with you. Have a good water container that keeps the water fresh and keep it kind of cool, not boiling it while you're walking. That's always a good thing. And the right essential stuff to have, like nuts and berries with you, something that you can snack on, so that way you're not starving throughout the day if you can't get something big into the system. Something just to keep you going.
Yeah, that's something we got to look at definitely. Bugging in or bugging out is, making sure that the rations that we do have to get us through are going to last. So some things you might have to think about is cutting down portion sizes and maybe snacking more so during the day versus eating a bigger meal just to save on whatever food that you've got rationed. Definitely. So one more quick question for you here, Wolf. While bugging in, what happens if everything kind of falls apart and you got to bug out all of a sudden, What's your opinions on that? Should you have a backup plan while bugging in?
It depends on the situation, yes. I believe you should be prepared for anything. Always be prepared for anything. But like I said, you got to have the right plan in motion, because you just don't want to overdo it and you don't want to underdo it, because it can be, if it's a life-threatening situation, you want to make sure that you have the right, how do you say it? You have the right scenario to play it out. So usually, like, practice before it happens type deal. Like, you should practice it with your family, how you want to do it if something was to happen, just to keep that fresh in the mind. So if something was to happen, you know what to do, what to grab, what to leave, the most essential things that you need. I think practice is always key to just having it right.
That's one thing that I've got to stand up for is planning and practicing. Practice. And while you're practicing, think about where things could fall apart so that you can possibly improve or look at improving. So practicing, yeah, wash, rinse, repeat, definitely. I mean, there's so many different things that we do that with in our lives. Um, just in general, look at our military. You know, basic training, whatnot, and everything they go through after basic training. They're always practicing the scenarios that bring them together. We do it for our jobs if we work in a factory. You know, we get put in one spot. Repetition, is a key. So definitely, if you look at it, there's so many different things in your life that you do practice to get better at. You do practice to improve your life. So prepping is built into us almost, I guess I'm going to say. So yeah, thanks a lot with that, Wolf. We're going to check one more time. Do we have anybody else who would like to check in? Okay, I guess not. So I am going to ask Jim, do you have any more thoughts or comments tonight, Jim, that you would like to present to us? The floor is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you. Actually, yeah, I've been writing down some of the comments there. Keith, you were talking about you want a water system. A little bit was covered. Rain catchment's a good one. Get a couple of barrels and have your spouts go down into them. They actually do have kits to make the water more potable. It'll filter out the initial part of the rain, for bird stuff and everything on there. And I would just give a suggestion. Also, prep for more than just hurricanes. Get your hurricane thing down because that's your biggest danger. But after you've got that down, you practice it, maybe expand on maybe some other things. Break. The water storage. Red Bear had asked Don AMT about if you went down to an open source with the cat litter buckets and filled it up with water, can you filter it? Absolutely. There are a lot of ways to do it. There are actual filters. You can boil it, and you can also filter or purify the water with chlorine. And I'm not talking about Clorox. If you didn't know it, Clorox has a very limited shelf life, so don't go out and buy 4 cases of it thinking you're going to use it to purify water. But there is a way to, using a 12-volt battery and table salt, you can actually extract chlorine from it and use that to purify our water. This is something they do in Africa. It is very widespread for those villages that do not have, any form of water. They have to walk who knows how far to get water. It's dirty, and they can actually purify it where it is completely healthy. Right? Red Bear had mentioned the practice, and so had Wolf. Absolutely. We as firefighters, we practice the same thing over and over again. So it becomes, a muscle memory thing. We don't even think about it. And of course, we do it right when we practice. We practice like we fight like we practice. So yeah, the practicing over and over again is a big, 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 huge one. That's about all I can think of. Oh, one more quick one. Wolf had said about marking your location. Going back to my Chiefs hat, there's flagging tape that we use, and it's different colors, different patterns. It's relatively inexpensive, so you could use a particular pattern or color to indicate something, either who you were or something of that nature. Easy to tie on limbs, etc., and save the paracord for more important things. Anyway, I think that's about it.
Copy that, Jim. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just so everybody knows, Jim had mentioned the email earlier, which I'm going to ask you to step back up and talk about that again when I'm done here, if you would, Jim. That email is very, very, very vital to this net, guys. That's where you're going to put in your ideas and your thoughts, as well as participating in this net. Jim does actually take notes, and he does kind of switch things up a little bit just to help people out with the things that he's taking notes on, as well as any emails that you send in to the email there. So that's something to think about. So definitely give us some topics, give us some suggestions and ideas. And I know Jim does kind of circle back a little bit, and I hate using that term circle back, but he does actually live up to that. So he does come back and reiterate some things and get a little more stronger suggestion on a few things here and there. So definitely keep communicating with us, guys, because it just opens the floor up even more and gives us more thoughts and ideas. So with that, Jim, could you give us that email one more time, sir, and let us know how to send an email in?
Okay, good deal. Anyway, it is prepnetch14 at gmail.com. That is prepnetch14 at gmail.com. No spaces. And in the subject line, put in the word suggestions. SUGGESTION for any suggestions on tonight's net, and then each following net. This may end up changing. Like I said, my next plan one was assumptions. Depending on what I get, I mean, we may not do assumptions. We may do something else. So we do listen to what's being said here, and we want to give you the information that you want. Back to Red Bear.
Copy that. Thanks a lot, Jim. So yeah, that's something we consider very, very important, guys, is listening to what you have to say. And, if there's any topics or anything that are very close to you and prepping that you want to have discussed, definitely bring it to our attention and it'll get worked into the schedule. So thanks a lot, Jim. Really appreciate it. One last quick check with you, Jim, to see if you have anything else. If not, we're going to kind of move on to like a little bit of a roundtable thing.
No, I think I covered about everything that my feeble brain can remember.
Not only is he full of good information, guys, he's a comedian as well. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate you, brother. Real quick, I just want to check, do we have anybody else that would like to check into the net? All right, guys. Real quick, before we open up for the last 10-ish minutes here, do a roundtable style on here. Falcons Net is starting here in just over 10 minutes on channel 16, the GMRS channel. We're going to follow them over. Hopefully everybody else does as well. They do a really good job over there. I'm going to give a short pause. I just want to thank everybody who joined the net tonight and participated and was here and listening as well. Without you guys here, this net wouldn't be possible. So it's the participants in the nets that make them possible. So all the thanks is going to you guys. But I also want to thank Jim because he works really hard for this net, guys. Puts out a lot of good information. So keep coming back, keep checking us out, keep dropping your ideas. Thanks a lot. At this time, we're going to open the channel up here for about 12 minutes for a roundtable. So if anybody else has got anything they'd like to discuss, the floor is yours.
I just want to say, going back to planning, that it occurred to me the other day that planning for the apocalypse is probably the best place to start, and then just work backwards from there to cover what you need to plan for.
Do we have anybody that's got any thoughts on that? Planning for the apocalypse first, and then working your way into other scenarios?
I got a comment about that. I think she's actually on point with that, because you always have to actually plan for the worst case scenario, and then you actually kind of take it a little bit down based on that situation. But I think people should actually, prepare for that, for the worst case scenario, and then after that, just kind of tone it a little bit down for different scenarios and different situations. And that's exactly what we actually did. And that's how we actually plan our family emergency procedures at the house.
Plug in. No trespassing signs. Front, sides, and rear of the property. Quick wooden posts right into the ground. That's their warning.
their only warning.
Thanks a lot, well, Falcon and Dan there. Really appreciate your input there. Yeah. If you want to be kind enough to give a warning, then definitely take them down to the ground and let them know. Enough. We've got about 10 minutes left. Do we have anybody else that would like to discuss anything on here tonight with prepping?
I have one more thing to add that just occurred to me talking about planning. Talking about maybe being at work when something bad happens. Maybe you want to add that into your plans on how long it might take you to get home, that sort of thing.
You know, that's actually a topic that's very important to me because with work, I travel all over the state. I get up very early in the morning and I don't get home till usually very late. So that's something very important to me. I have to look at that and ask myself, what if something happens and I'm not home? Now, we did have a medical emergency at home Friday. My fiance actually got stung by a bee and she's highly allergic, and I was almost an hour away. So we had communications, thank goodness, and she was able to get a hold of me right away, and I was able to let my boss know and get home and start helping out, take care of her. So she was able to get to her EpiPen, thank goodness. But still, that's something that we have to look at here with me being gone. Thanks a lot, Donna. That is actually a very good thing to look at. All right, we're going to do one last call. Do we have any other thoughts, comments tonight? The floor is yours. Go ahead. All right, seeing how we're getting down close to the hour, into the hour here for the net, I just want to ask, do we have any questions, comments, or concerns with the net that we had tonight? Okay. Just want to thank everybody one last time for coming and registering and being part of the net. If you're out here just monitoring and did not register, thanks for coming and checking us out. You're just as important. Glad to have you here as well. Jim, at this point, I'm thinking about shutting her down so we can head over to channel 16. What's your thoughts?
Sounds about right. I think we beat this whole dead horse pretty hard. And I want to get over to the GRMF.
Okay, do we have any objections to shutting this net down tonight? Please make your call known now.
Hey, Red Bear, it's live action. I just joined, man. Sorry about that earlier. But anyway, can tell it's been a good show.
Hey, we'll get you wrote down real quick, live action. Always glad to have you here. Always a pleasure, brother. We'll get you wrote down. Do we have any other last-minute check-ins?
Red Bear, Montana. Good net. Thank you very much. This is Andrew. And we'll meet you guys down on 16.
10-4, Andrew. Always a pleasure having you here with us, brother, and getting your input on everything that we discussed. Yeah, we'll definitely be heading to 16 here in just a few seconds ourselves. Okay, guys, the time is 6:55. This is Net Control. We're going to go ahead and end the net tonight, and we're going to turn the channel back over to regular operating procedures. Once again, thank you, everybody, for joining, and have a great night, great beginning to your week. Hopefully, we see you all over on channel 16 for Falcon and Cheech's net. Have a great night, everybody.